Welcome in. Wanted to discuss why I don't collect for anything PlayStation. So, here's a little story all about how my life got flipped, turned upside down. I'd like to take a minute and just sit right there. I'll tell you what happened when Sega left the console market. That is the biggest factor in me even moving to collecting for or even getting an Xbox. Because it does all have to do with Sega leaving the console market, because I had an N64 and then I had a Dreamcast, and there was the Xbox, the GameCube, and the PlayStation 2 all on the horizon. And I decided at that time I was not going to collect for all three console manufacturers. I just decided, it wasn't in the cards. It wasn't something I wanted to try to afford. And being a Sega fanboy, I decided, okay, well, what console is going to get a lot of the Sega ports that we should have gotten on the Dreamcast? And as you know, Shenmue 2 was released for the original Xbox, even though in Europe they got it on the Dreamcast. But some deals were made, and we didn't get that here in the United States, and the Xbox was getting a lot of ports from the Dreamcast. I was like, okay. So it looks like instead of being Sega and Nintendo, being the two console manufacturers that I was going to buy games and consoles from, well, Sega wasn't there anymore. So it was Nintendo, and it was going to either be the Sony or Microsoft. And it ended up being Microsoft because they got a lot of Sega games. Yeah, not much to it. And that's a decision I made back in 2001, and I haven't really looked back. I've got a PlayStation Mini, but I don't think I've even ever plugged it in. I got a PlayStation 2 that my father-in-law saved from the trash, and I've got a handful of games for that. When I say a handful, maybe a dozen. And some of those were given to me. I've got a broken PlayStation 3 that I intend to try and fix one day. But, yeah, there's not really any crazy reason. Not because, PlayStation stinks and there's no good games and, whatever. No. It's pretty much because I decided I was going to collect for two consoles per generation. I should say collect for, because at the time they were current. I wasn't really collecting for them. I was just buying games that were current. I wasn't trying to amass a big library or anything. I don't really think I started collecting until like 2017. I just held on to everything that I had picked up. But yeah, nothing against PlayStation. Although I do think Xbox Live was better on the 360 than PlayStation's offerings, even though you had to pay for it, which was probably one of the reasons why it was a little bit better. But yeah, no nefarious reasons. It's just something I've stuck to. And now that it looks like at some point Microsoft Xbox might be leaving, I don't know. Like, I don't think I'll start collecting PlayStation. Everything. I don't even know if I'm going to get the next gen consoles, period. Like, I don't care about a Switch 2. It doesn't matter to me at this point in time. There's nothing that I have to get on it. Prime 4 is going to be on the original Switch, so I'm happy with that. But yeah, just, the reason I don't collect for PlayStation is because it just didn't win out of the two choices, Microsoft or Sony, and I went with Microsoft. It made, buying games a lot simpler. I could pretty much ignore stuff that was coming out for PlayStation. Buddy gifted me his Xbox, and I went to a pawn shop and picked up several games, and then within 6 or 9 months, I think, I was enjoying the Xbox so much, I picked up a 360, and the rest is history. I went crazy with the 360. 360, like, if you watched the video, is one of my top 5 favorite consoles. But as is the Dreamcast, which is sadly Sega's last console. But yeah, it makes going to conventions really easy because systems I don't collect for, I don't pay attention to the prices for games. I don't pay attention to the games. It makes things, like I said, really easy, because when I see a table that they've like a section is nothing but PlayStation, I don't have to even bother looking at it, because there's nothing there that interests me. I know there's plenty of games and adventures and opportunities that I've passed up because I don't pay attention to it, but that's okay. I have plenty of games and systems to play on already. It's just, yeah, it's depriving myself of some of these games, but if I wanted to, I could get an emulator and emulate up through the PS3 currently, and who knows what will happen in the future with PS4 and PS5. They'll probably get emulators for the PC if they don't have a PC port for the game already. Well, the other thing is, like, there's so many games, you can't get them all, and why would you want to try? I'd like to try to stay a little bit more focused, and just that choice I made, and crazy to think it's probably around 24 years ago, saves me time and effort, and like I can keep the focus where I want it. I won't say that I'll never, pick stuff up for any of the PlayStation systems, but right now they're not on the radar. Like I said, there's no nefarious reason. I don't think that Sony makes a crummy product or anything. There's solid games all over the place. And if I was to start, it'd probably be PS2 or PS3. Probably PS2. Because PS3, I think, had enough cross games that were on both systems for the PS3 and the 360 that I don't really need to worry about that one. Except for Little Big Planet. That's one game that I had really hoped was going to be multi-platform. But yeah, not really a big crazy story or anything about not collecting for the PlayStation. But what are your thoughts? Is there anything that you decide, like, I'm just not going to collect for that stuff? So when people talking about the Vita and the PSP and this, that, and the other, doesn't matter. It's not on my radar. If you enjoy it, kudos. Pretty similar with the NES and SNES. I just don't collect for them. If there's a game I want to play, I've got Switch Online, or I've got an NES Mini that's hacked, and I've got the SNES Mini, and I've got an EverDrive for a SNES, and I've got a clone console for that. But I don't really just, like, they're not consoles that I really jump toward or gravitate towards to play games on. The same with all the PlayStation stuff. Like I said, going to conventions makes it easy because I can just skip over that stuff. I don't have to be like, oh, well, I wonder if they've got that one game. Well, if it's on PlayStation, it doesn't matter. PlayStation anything. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Vita, PSP, whatever. I just move on. Same with NES and SNES. I don't look at them. They don't catch my eye. I could run across, some of the best games at awesome prices for crazy deals, and it wouldn't matter to me. Which might sound kind of silly or dumb, or which way you'd like to put it, but it keeps things simpler. I mean, I collect for enough stuff as it is, with all the video game stuff, Masters of the Universe, Lego. I've kind of dropped the baseball cards some, and even Lego I've stepped back from, but the Masters of the Universe cartoon collection, those figures are sweet. It's great having that stuff that looks like it did on the Filmation cartoon back in the day. But yeah, I think that's pretty good. Thoughts, comments, like, share, subscribe, all that jazz. Love to hear y'all's thoughts. Have you ever just eliminated systems out of the possibility for a span of time? Like I said, I don't know that I will never pick up anything for the PlayStation and actually look at trying to play it, but like I said, it's just not on my radar. It doesn't matter to me. Plenty of other games in the sea, but hope everyone has a good day. Everyone take care, have fun, be kind to one another, stay safe, keep it retro or 360. Don't worry about PlayStation or NES or SNES. God bless, and we will catch you all later. Bye. And over here should be a thing for the 5 favorite consoles. We'll put it up there, and then down there we'll just do recommendation from YouTube or something. But